Hi guys. So I've noticed on the page everybody's morale is so down. Please forgive my voice. I've been teaching, I don't know how many hours I've taught this week, so um, it's not as strong and as potent as usual. Okay. Tonight, my topic of discussion is going to be how to nail your interview or how to ace it. Okay. Because I notice a lot of people actually get invited to interviews, and then I see their comments on the pages where they complain and say, well, I got invited to the interview, but I got turned down. All right. So um, there is actually a recipe to nailing an interview and acing it and doing well. Okay. I've done, I don't want to lie to you, too many interviews. Many of them I just did, like I said, for my blog and to help you guys. Uh, I sometimes do them for fun and to just to see if I can actually get the job or not. And if I can't, whether I'm actually interested in working for the company is irrelevant. If they turn me down, I still consider it an experience that I've gained, and so I'm hoping to share some of that with you. Um, the system I have, I can't be arrogant and say that it's foolproof, but it's pretty potent. It has served me well over a long period of time. So I'm hoping to share this with you. So you get invited to an interview. What do you know? If you get invited to an interview, what do you know already? Okay. You can gather from the fact that, or you can deduce that obviously they saw something on your CV um, that got them interested in your application. So you've already sort of got a foot in the door. Now, what a lot of teachers do is they're very unsure of themselves when they get invited to an interview. That is completely the wrong attitude. If you get invited to an interview, you should actually be quite flattered, because how many people actually apply to this particular company in just 1 week, sometimes 100. So if you get invited to an interview, there's definitely something about you. Sometimes it's your gender, sometimes it's your nationality, sometimes it's your experience, um, sometimes it's your qualifications. There's a long list of reasons why they would. It's your age is also important. I'm 40. That's why I always tell you guys, I am not the most. I'm as far as online teaching is concerned, I'm not in the most desirable age group. Okay, and consider the fact that I'm a small town Afrikaner boy, which really also doesn't place me uh, as one of the most employable people in this market. But why do I still get jobs? It's probably a skill that I acquired from my professor many years ago at law school. Um, and this skill involves personalizing any sort of interaction that you have with anybody that you have a business meeting with or a professional interaction with. So, okay, you get invited to an interview. What is the most, where do we start off? First of all, your lighting has to be amazing. Okay, not like mine now, because I can already see mine is casting a shadow. Okay, do you have any idea how many teachers get turned down just because of their lighting? Okay, so that's number one. Secondly, when you do your interview, make sure that your internet is running at its full capacity. I mean, at the speed of light, if possible. If you have to hotspot for the interview so that you can run your internet at 4G, do it. Okay, do whatever you have to. Make sure that your internet is running smoothly. Then your background. Okay, so uh, if you don't have all these nice pictures and world maps and baby shark images in your background, don't worry. I've never ever had any of that in my life, ever, for any sort of interview. Um, each teacher has his or her own approach to online teaching. That is not my niche. Okay. Um, I'm really not into that. But what you should have at the very least is a neutral background, like a wall, or you could possibly have a portrait, although that is also pushing it. Just a neutral background. That is perfect. Perfect lighting, neutral background, and you need to have a headset. Okay. Um, I've actually thought about this quite a bit. I've taught so many classes, guys. You have no idea. Where my headset would be plugged out, or I was just wearing it, um, so that the interviewer can think that I'm using a headset. Sometimes I just use my laptop's mic and it works well enough. Okay, but don't follow my lead on that. The point is, they need to see the headset. Okay. That is psychologically, that to them it means that you are serious and you've invested an X amount of capital, and you're somewhat experienced and invested into online teaching. So you take it seriously, and they take you seriously, right? Now, the interview will start. Now, most teachers are just like a nervous wreck. Okay, but I'm going to try and give you an idea of what you should do for yourself psychologically. Okay, you should tell yourself, okay, these guys are already interested in me. So you've got your foot in the door, and where everything goes wrong is with the interview. They wouldn't interview you if you didn't qualify for the sub minimum requirements on paper already. Okay, so I suggest you should tell yourself, "Wow, I'm pretty special." Okay, now I've just got to go along with the ride, and I must just not mess this up. Okay, that's why I say, don't get so nervous when you go into the interview. They actually already want you. Okay, so the primary purpose of an interview is, they're going to look at, well, they're going to listen to your accent, most especially if you're South African. Okay, and I mean, like I said, I'm an Afrikaner, but I've passed for a native speaker for the past, oh my goodness, countless years. Vietnam, Thailand, Germany, all the places where I've taught. Why? Because I try to carry myself confidently. I tell them, you know what, I am South African, but I have a neutral accent. I pronounce my words clearly, and I tell them, well, every country has an accent. Australia, England. I even joke with them. I told them, well, I could say, can I have a glass of water? That would be considered a native accent, British, but you wouldn't be doing anybody any favors speaking English like that. So I tell them, I put a lot of effort into enunciating my words carefully. I try to speak slowly, and I try to be very attentive to my students' needs and their behavior. All right. So now the interview starts. They'll say, good morning, hello teacher. They're usually quite friendly. Respond with energy immediately. Respond. Good morning. How are you? Are you doing well? Okay. So break the ice. And they'll say, yes, we're doing well. Then I usually go into this. So how was your week? Are you working hard? You look like you've been working really hard. You see, I'm personalizing the conversation. I'm relaxing them, and I'm starting to relax myself, and I am setting myself up to be in a position where they'll actually like me. Not just on a professional level, but I'm drawing them in to like me as a person, which then, my goodness, guys, that is, once you've achieved that, you basically got the job. Unless you really mess up, like your internet cutting out or having an awful background like I do right now. So then they'll ask you, okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Now be careful. Don't tell them, don't give them a detailed description of your entire life history. Okay. Often people go into their hobbies, and I've been divorced twice, and they're not interested in that. They're asked that question not because they really care. Um, they want to pretend that they are quite interested in who and what you are, but actually what they're doing is they're listening to you speak English, and they're actually just listening to your accent. So If they ask you to tell them a little bit about yourself, what how does the saying go? Kies. Keep it simple. My name is Alban Knudsen. I am from South Africa. I have been a teacher for the past 10 years. I specialize in teaching English as a foreign language. Before I taught English, I taught law at Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. I taught criminology and I worked in the Department of Public Law. My goodness, I almost in the Department of Public Law, where I was a course coordinator for Missionville campus. Teaching has always been my passion. I really now I'm taking control of the conversation because they didn't ask me yet to tell me why am I a teacher. I'm handing that to them. Do you see what I'm doing? And if they don't stop me, psychologically, I've taken control of the conversation. Now, you're already gaining momentum. Don't stop. Okay. So, I really love teaching English. It has become my passion. I really enjoy meeting my new students from all over the world. I've worked with a lot of Asian students, most especially Chinese students. I really enjoy listening to them, finding out a little bit about their culture. Um, and one of my favorite things about teaching is seeing my students respond to my teaching methods. I get a lot of joy out of that. And to see my kids happy and entertained while I teach is incredibly rewarding for me. Okay, so what am I doing now? Okay, sure, judge me if you want. It's incredibly manipulative, but I'm already subtly explaining to them how I teach. Okay, so I'm telling them, okay, I'm aware of the fact that TFL teaching, and don't, oh my goodness, I'm going to get into trouble. But online teaching works like this: 60% putting up a show, and it's 40% actual teaching English. Why? Because if you don't put up a good show, how are you going to how are you going to keep a 6 or a 7-year-old child? How are you going to get that child to focus on you for 25 minutes? Some schools even an hour. I don't. But anyway, that's just how it is. Right. While you're doing the interview, then they'll say to you, okay, so now they've listened to that and you've handed them all that. Now, what usually happens is they'll ask you, what have you heard about our company and why are you interested in applying to our company? Now, this is usually where teachers mess up big time, right? So don't go into a sucking up conversation because that is what teachers will do. Wow, your company looks so amazing, and no, stop that. This just doesn't work because 50 other people sucked up to them already, and they know that you want the job. If you're going to come across as being needy and desperate, don't expect them to offer you more than $5 an hour. It's not going to happen. This is how you approach it. You say to them, well, you know what? I had a colleague of mine. He or she worked for your company for X amount of time. You can say maybe for a year. He or she suggested that I apply to your company because they had a positive experience with you. As an online teacher, I really value companies that treat their teachers with respect, companies who have good booking ratings and who are reliable. Okay. So, now you don't look needy and desperate, and in addition to which you sound professional, right? Now that you've completed that, that is your answer why you are applying to this particular company. Keep quiet a little bit so that they can assess how to continue. What happens next? They will then usually ask you, all right, what times and which days are you available? Are you willing to work between, oh, I've heard this a million times, between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Beijing time. Make sure that you understand what the time difference is before you do the interview. Right. But don't just respond and say immediately, yes, 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 you know what, I can work from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Needy, desperate. That's what gets you $5 an hour ratings. It's not going to be good for you. You say, well, it would be quite suitable for me. I have actually considered uh, uh, the time differences, and for me, it would be very convenient to work between 9 a.m. and maybe 12 p.m. depending on my bookings and depending on my and depending on the company's minimum weekly. Each company has minimum hours that you have to work. So you say to them, well, I've actually considered the time difference between South Africa and China, and between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. would be convenient for me. And it would depend on the amount of bookings that I get per week and the minimum hours that I have to work per week. Uh, Occasionally, I'm also available on weekends, and if the company would really need me to work on weekends, I can always make myself available on short notice if it is necessary. Now you will say, Alvin, but I actually need those hours. So how can you so easily say that? Don't worry, guys. Get the job. And this is how most of the companies work. Once you're employed, they'll give you a schedule which you can fill in your availability. Then, if you want those hours, then fill in the availability on that schedule after you got the job. But while you're doing the interview, don't tell them I'm willing to push 12 hours a day. These guys have worked with hundreds of teachers and they know that that is not a sustainable thing. All right. Most people can, I mean, today I've worked, I don't want to lie to you. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays are my busiest days. Okay, like I've told you, I only work with European companies at the moment and students. But in the past, just like everybody else, I taught young Chinese kids from, or not just Chinese, but also from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and so on. I'm well aware of how exhausting it can be. So don't in the interview try to convince them that I'm not lazy, I'm a hard worker. Nonsense. The more you say that, the less they're inclined to believe it. Okay, give them a controlled and calculated answer, like I said. Give them a specific time and give them specific days of the week that you are available. And then they will realize innately that you have thought this through and you have probably worked these hours in the past before and they suit your lifestyle and they don't intervene with your daily responsibilities or routines. That is what these guys want. All right. Where do teachers go wrong? First of all, and this is why teachers do not get jobs. I'm talking about competent teachers. All right. First of all, the interview starts and they haven't prepared themselves. So they sit there, hi, my name is Alvin, and so on. And yes, thank you so much that I could, for the interview. Uh, you're not talking to them about anything that they're interested in. They're not interested in you thanking them. They're interested in finding out whether you can speak English efficiently. They want to listen to your accent. They want to know whether you have experience, okay? And they want to know whether you can work enough hours to fill in the slots that they need you for. That's all they want to find out during the interview, okay? Some people have claimed that the recruiters want pretty girls and beautiful backgrounds. I'm not saying that has no influence at all, but I'm certainly not Candy Swanepoel, and they still employ me all the time. All right, it's not because I'm Superman or better than you. This is the whole point I'm trying to make the whole time, over and over. Go into your interview knowing that these people already want to employ you. So the interview is an opportunity for you to enter into an agreement and show to them that what you've given to them on paper is in actual fact accurate. What a lot of teachers do is during the interview, they show the interviewer that what's written on that piece of paper is actually not an accurate reflection of who and what they are. So look at your CV and behave like you said you are on that CV, and you'll get the job. It really isn't rocket science. All right. They have sub minimum requirements and standard Q&As, and I've given you the standard Q&As now. So after watching this video, keep the following in mind. Because I'm not going to stretch this video out. It's already 20 minutes. I'm sorry, but this is really important. Once the interview is done, say to them, thank you for the interview and the opportunity to apply to your company. I look forward to hearing from you soon. This was a pleasant experience. Have a good week and goodbye. Don't stretch it out. Don't make too much of it. All right. So if you follow that system, they have to tick. Yes, this, they've done that, they've done that. And if you get enough right ticks, they're going to respond and give you the job. That's it. A lot of teachers don't understand that. This is actually basic mathematics. They have a script in front of them, or I've seen it so many times. They've got a printed piece of paper with your name on top. And while they're interviewing you, they're ticking it off. You get the right amount of ticks, you get the job. There's nothing magical about an interview. There really isn't. It is a simple thing. And you need to tell yourself before you go into the interview, like I said now, it's the last time I'll say this. I have already on paper proven myself to qualify for this job. All I need to do is to show to them all the things that I've told you to show them now. All right. And if you've done that, you get the job. They don't want to sit the whole day and interview 150 other people. Do you know how many times I've had an interview and then 30 minutes later I get an email telling me, congratulations, your application has been approved. The training will start on Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday. Please indicate to us which days you will be available for training. And there you go. All right. I have tried many other methods and none of them have been successful. This is a recipe that I've followed it kind of religiously. So sorry, it's an extreme statement, but I've followed it rigidly, and we've done it the same way over and over. And in the beginning, when I started doing doing online teaching, my success rate was maybe 3 or 4 out of 10. Okay, which is awful. Now it's like 8 out of 10, which is pretty much as high as it's going to get for a 40-year-old Afrikaner. Okay, I can't expect any higher, but 8 out of 10, that's pretty good odds. Okay, so I suggest you try this. Guys, please don't lose faith and don't give up. Okay, I've got so many things going on. Really, I'm speaking to recruiters at the moment. I just really don't have the time to do all of it. But as I'm sitting here, I'm utterly exhausted. But I feel guilty in a way because there are so many teachers on our page that are so much better even than I am at teaching English. They probably even have a better accent than I do, and yet they don't get employed. So it's got nothing to do about where you're from, or your accent, or your competency, or your availability. It has a lot to do with your swagger. Okay, so you need to walk in there. You need to be confident. Own it. Take it. Accept the fact that you basically have the job, and the interview is only an opportunity for you to mess it up. Okay, so you tell yourself these are the sub minimum requirements. I will make sure that the interviewer can see that I qualify for all of these things. What you could also do is show them, look at me, even while I'm speaking to you now. It sort of just happens automatically. I never sit still, and I use my hands, and I interact with the camera as if any of you are in the room with me. Uh, I show them that I have a lot of energy and that I'm excited, but I don't go off topic and I don't try to oversell myself. Do you understand? And that is one of the big problems. Um, I mean, sure, be friendly to them, man, but don't go off topic. Stick with the system, follow it, okay? And then when you go into the interview and these are the requirements I need to adhere to, and if I do that, I will give myself the best opportunity to get this job. Some jobs you will apply to and you'll just not get it, because you might not at that moment be what the company wants. And I don't blame any company for that. Sure, my goodness, it's a free market system. If they don't want to employ me because I'm too old, why would I be angry with them? Okay. Or if they don't want to employ me because they don't particularly like my accent, I can't be angry with them either. So, uh, if you follow the system, what I'm saying is you will give yourself the best opportunity to get the job. Right. I made this video because I've been asked about introduction videos again, but I've already made so many comments about introduction videos. Um, this is more important because from what I can gather on our page and many other online teaching pages, people complain because they get invited to interviews and then they get turned down. And I've just told you why they get turned down. I speak to recruiters and HR managers from companies all over, all the time, too much. One day I am actually going to take a screenshot. No, I can't do that. I think it's unethical because 9 out of 10 of my inboxes or message requests are teachers, and I'm sure as heck not going to. I just think it is unethical. I won't do it, but just take my word for it. My inbox is full of teachers, and it's not just complaints or them asking for help. A lot of the time is feedback because I beg people for feedback. I really appreciate it. And so the advice I'm giving you is not stuff that I sit up and make up at night. It's based on my personal experiences that I've had with interviews and application processes, and then it is an accumulated archive of knowledge based on other people's experience. So I'm sharing that with you as well. Guys, really keep your heads up. You can do this, okay? Don't get negative. Stay positive. You will find a school that works for you sooner or later. It took me months and months before I started making or earning an income that was worth even mentioning. All right. So stay positive. If I can help, I will help, And I am confident we are going to push our hourly rate up. I can see the teachers are responding. They're sharing the links. People are trying to apply to different types of schools. South African people are so dynamic, man. Damn it, guys. I have lived and worked all over the world, and there is no better place for me than South Africa. I know so many of us have immigrated to other countries. I'm just not one of them. I love Mzansi because we are so dynamic. You guys have just, instead of being critical, you've actually literally shown me that you are thinking outside of the box. My goodness, sure, okay, I had to pull you by the ankles. But you are actually doing it, and I'm seeing it, and it is incredibly encouraging. And within a couple of months, companies are going to realize you can't come to South African teachers with $4 an hour or $5 an hour offers. If a company offers you $5 an hour, do you know, I see some teachers going on the comment section and saying, no, but you can't make a living out of $5 an hour. Sure, I agree. I agree, and I absolutely think that our teachers are worth significantly more than $5 an hour. Why do you think I'm doing all of this? But what is it going to, how are you going to benefit yourself or anybody else by complaining about it on Facebook? Because they don't give a crap. Scrolls, ignore it. I encourage you to say what you want to as long as it's not racist, slanderous, or religiously insensitive. Say whatever you want to. But I'm just asking myself, what are you going to benefit from it? What are you going to get out of it? Uh, you are going to complain, and 5 minutes later, they're going to get 40 more applications, and they're just going to look at you and say, bitter and sour. What you should do is get employed by somebody who's going to offer you $10 to $12 an hour, and then they'll shut up and worry. Okay. And a lot of people have already worried because they can see the teachers are taking this seriously and they're applying to these European and South American and Russian companies. Um, and I'm happy. The power is in your hands, guys. Listen, enjoy your weekend. I wish you all the best. And I will get hold of Hanali. She was sick for a while. We were quite scared because I was worried she had COVID. But I'll get hold of her next week, and she's got some goodies with regards to new companies who are hiring South Africans. All right, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend.